Hey everybody, this is TotalGamerJunkie. I want to welcome you all back to my channel. So in this video, I want to talk about what type of comic we could possibly be getting in the Life is Strange series. Now, in case any of you haven't seen it, I'm going to be spoiling it. It's the last issue of the Life is Strange comic series. At the end, won't say what happens, but at the end, there's a little panel that says, "The end, ... for now." And this got me thinking, what exactly could we expect to see in a new comic? And I'd like to go over some ideas I had for potential protagonists and what stories I think could be told. Now, the first thing I do want to mention is I don't think this will be a game, and you're probably wondering why I'm bringing this up, and the reason is if any of you have seen the last issue of the Harley Quinn book, the comic, that I uploaded about a month ago, it mentions that at the end of it, that Harley and Ivy will be returning for Season 3. So I already knew we were getting a Season 3, but this comic was... I don't believe the comic is canon. But the reason I'm saying that is because I don't think that this panel for the Life is Strange, for the last issue of the Life is Strange comic, I don't think it's hinting at a possible future game with Max and Chloe, even though that'd be so awesome if we got that. But anyways, my first idea is we explore Tristan's origins. We already know his origin story, how he got his powers, but I'd like to see what he was like before he met Max. Because, as we all know, after his best friend died, he just shut himself off from everyone. He always remained intangible, would steal food to get by, to sleep wherever he could. And Max saved him, in his own words. She helped him find purpose in his life, and he, in return, helped her get back to her original timeline, to be with her Chloe, and in return, we got Pricefield, so... yay. Another idea I have is exploring exploring Chloe and Rachel's backstory. Now, there are a few things that are confusing with this timeline that Rachel's in. First off, the fact that Rachel is alive, and the reason that's confusing is because Nathan ends up killing her accidentally in the original timeline, as well as the alternate timeline at the end of episode 3 and the beginning of episode 4 in Life is Strange 1. So long story short, Nathan wanted to prove to Jeff that he was as good as him and could mimic what he could do with his subjects. So he abducted Rachel Amber and took her to the dark room, but the idiot overdosed her when he was taking pictures. And after this, Jeff realized that Nathan was a liability, and that's why he kills him in episode 5. Or he killed him near the end of episode 4, I'm not too sure, I'll have to go back and take a look. But the point is, if Rachel's alive, then that means that she wasn't drugged by Nathan. Either that, or maybe she was, but Nathan was able to do it right, and he didn't overdose her. Or maybe Rachel and Chloe left Arcadia Bay before she was ever kidnapped. But yeah, it's a bit confusing as well, and it brings up a whole lot of other questions. So, was Jefferson ever caught, with Kate? Would Kate have committed suicide if Rachel wasn't abducted? It's like a whole type of thing, you know. I do think the events would have still carried on, you know, Kate, because Kate was on his list, and so was Victoria. So depending on whether or not he would be caught, I do think events would have played out similarly, but they'd still be different. But I would like a comic to just verify this, you know, just fill in some blanks. Another idea I had was actually for the game, and what I would like to see is Max, sorry, I thought I was going to say something. I'd like to see Max in the alternate timeline where Chloe becomes a paraplegic, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because I want to see how much different she was from Max, because first of all, this alternate version of Max prefers to be called Maxine and not Max. And you can tell that she's kind of from the text and the journal entries, I can tell she's kind of just like a brat, just a bratty teen. I wouldn't say she's like Victoria or anything, but she's got an attitude. You can tell from the text messages from her mom, when she threatens Alyssa in her messaging. I think it'd be very interesting to see. And speaking of alternate timelines, what about Chloe when she grew up in this alternate timeline? I honestly would like to see what happened after Max left. I like the comic to start out and then end when she gets in that car crash and becomes a paraplegic. Because like I honestly don't want to see it, but I think I think a lot of these comics could help, you know, just fill in some blanks, like add some lore. Like, granted, we don't need it, but I think it'd be nice. And next one I have is Alex, because we've actually technically already had a little prequel comic, and that was these were in the last remaining issues. We got little backstory for Alex's character when she's on her way to Haven Springs. And I honestly would like to see what her life was in the foster care system. Like, we know it was hell, but I would honestly like to see a comic from her point of view, see what it was like. I think that would be very interesting. As well as Gabe. What about him? What was he getting up to? It's mentioned that he was in juvie. How did he get to Haven Springs? How did he meet Steph, Ryan, and Charlotte? Those things are obviously in the game, but I'd like to explore more on that, to see it in the comic book. You know, like, and honestly, I think it would be better if Deck 9 or Don't Nod wrote these comics, because unlike Emma Vasili, these comics for Life is Strange aren't canon. So, but if Deck 9 or Don't Nod wrote the comics, then I would consider them canon. Like, the comics aren't canon anyway. It's just like an alternate reality type thing. But you get the gist of what I'm saying. So really, that's all I wanted to talk about. I do have more videos to upload, but the internet here is so shit. At the moment, so I'm gonna have to upload this using my phone data. So hopefully it gets fixed by tomorrow, and I can upload more of my theory videos I got. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one. This is TotalGamerJunkie, signing off.